Shalom Israel. Once again, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000. Lord willing, this lesson be edifying to the elect, the men, women, and children who believe in come on now. Shalaki, I'm driving. This guy gonna just block me. Like, come on, move. Anyways, you gotta take a million deep breaths in this fucking captivity. Bear with me. So the title of this lesson will be what was it? If you keep failing the quiz, how will you pass the final exam? Something down that lines. If you keep failing the quiz, how will you pass the final exam? You know, and just like, you go to school, quizzes, pop quizzes, and you got quizzes, you got tests, and then you have the final exam, right? And the quizzes, you learn certain lessons, you go over certain chapters in school. And a quiz is to test you on a portion of the knowledge that you've been taught. And you might have a quiz, 2 or 3 quizzes before a test, right? And I forget how it goes. Every so often you will have a final exam. I don't know if it's every quarter or every so often you will have a final exam, retesting you on all of the smaller tests and the quizzes. So it's the same thing in life, inside and outside of the truth, And this comes from a testimony. This comes from a testimony of a test that I believe I passed. And I guess I'll start there, right? So I'm in a situation where Lord willing, I'll be moving soon. Lord willing, I'll get this apartment. But as it stands, I'm in a desperate attempt to not have to live with the mother of my children, my Eve, my demon. I am living in a house where I have a decent space of my own. It's 2 bedrooms, right? I gotta use a space that the heat is the plumbing is not how it should be in the house, and so the heat doesn't work. Basically, it's like they could get it to work. Even if they do get it to work on my floor, my heater in my room, it needs some fixing. So I got to use a space heater, and then the electricity. The electricity is the wiring in the house. I'm not an electrician, so I don't know exactly, but however it is, we could only use a certain amount of power in the house before everything shut down. We use so I got my space heater set to medium. If I put that shit on high, the whole, everybody gonna get mad at me because the power gonna go out in the house. Jake shit, man. You grow immune to these types of things growing up in the ghettos and with the curses being on us. So even though I have a tube, it's like it's the space of it's like the space of a small 1-bedroom, but without a bathroom. It's like a 2-bedroom. So anyways, there's no heat on I can't heat up the other side of the room or whatnot. Nevertheless, right? I have I've been allowing my brother, which is a child that my father had from a woman that's not my mother, that I don't I know of her, but I don't know her or whatever. And my father, well, he in our reality, it's not his biological son. It's not his biological son because he did the DNA test, but I guess he wound up claiming him anyway. So my father been in and out of jail my whole life. He in prison now for a homicide or whatever. And Salakia. Nevertheless, right, I try to honor him as much as I can, based upon how I was raised, to respect my elders, and based upon the scriptures, right? Honor your mother, honor your father, and honor your mother to the best of my ability. So I don't have to do nothing for it. It's like I that in itself. That in itself, and this this visual that I had pulled up, is all going to tie in. So just bear with me, Baba Kashah. So my brother, I don't like to call him my step brother, or I don't like to be phony, fake, or nothing like that. I'm embracing him as my real brother. And in our reality, he is of the nation of Israel, though he doesn't believe. He is, as far as I know, he is of the same nation, just in a heathenistic or Gentile like mentality, right? He would be what we call an Israelite foreigner. He's an Israelite, but doesn't know that he's an Israelite. But he knows that I'm an Israelite. And I told him he Israelite or whatever. Well, our people is Israelites, but he a knucklehead. But he's not like he's still kind of like a kid. He young. I don't even know exactly how old he is. He in his 20s or whatever. He got a child, and basically he's been I don't want to say homeless, because he's been dealing with this woman. He's been dealing with this woman, and Salaki, and I don't mean to get too personal, right? I'm just trying to get like a good understanding. Make sure this video is edifying as possible. So, he's from New Jersey, where where I reside, but his mom, I guess, moved to Georgia for a while, and for a couple, I don't know if it's been like a year or two now, he's been back in New Jersey. Now his daughter stays in Georgia or whatever, and he goes back and forth. And since he's been in Jersey, he's been trying to get himself together. Matter of fact, I guess, things was so rough in Georgia that he came here, for better, to get some money, basically, find some, pursue some better financial opportunities or whatever. But the block that I live on is it's a weed block or whatever. It's a weed block, and he be out there, right? He be out there, and I know, I know what he do. I know what he into or whatever. And I told him, right? Because he the reason why he's staying with me is because he been going through things with this woman that he's been dealing with, and from me trying to honor my father, and also, right, treating others how you would want to be treated, right? Putting myself in his shoes, right? And then he looked to me, he called me his brother, and it was challenging. It was challenging for me to embrace him as a brother, right? And if it wasn't for this truth, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. I probably like it'd be phony. It'd be phony. It won't be real. And I've had to deal with the challenge of, even with knowing the truth, of still not being phony and actually embracing him as a brother, to the best of my ability. So, knowing how it is living with Eve or whatever, I try to tell him, because the better he does, the less I would have to help him, right? And the worse, the more responsibility he has on his plate. If he can't keep up with it, then I don't necessarily have to help him, but he will possibly look to me for help. So to prevent all these things, proper planning prevents poor performance, right? To prevent all these things, I try to think ahead, and try to tell him, try to help him as much as possible. And I told him, look, don't be getting caught up. You already got a child. Focus on the child that you got, right? Whatever you do, don't have another child with this woman that you're getting caught up with. Y'all, y'all, every time I turn around, y'all getting into like these domestic disputes, and he ain't even been dealing with her for that long. So, that's like super red flag. Super red flag. And, if you ask me, right, that sounds to get the fuck out, like the movie, right? And so I tell him all these things, and, he hard-headed, he think he know it all or whatnot, but he tries to listen. So that led up to him staying with me, right? Because so that he won't have the pressure of having to be at this woman's house, right? Because it's kind of like out the way or whatever. And when he go out there, he get comfortable. And then, from being too comfortable, that's when these women, they start, especially if you ain't bringing in no money. If you ain't sitting on no money, you ain't bringing in no money, right? They start to show their fucking horns, right? They start to show that demon character, those demons start to come out. So. And the only reason why he really being north is be in the city, right? It's the which is a couple towns away from where the woman stays, is because so he could get some money. He be hustling or whatever. So he's been staying with me, right? He's been staying with me until he figure out his next move. Now he's supposed to be leaving. He's supposed to be leaving, going back to Georgia soon or whatever. And I found that out because I told him, look, at the end of the day, you can't be I already told him, you can't be smoking up here, you can't be bagging up here, right? You gotta go somewhere else with that shit, right? He respected whatever, right? And I could use help as far as paying my little rent for my space, but I don't charge him because I don't want him to feel like he obligated to, or he go back. I don't want him to feel like he can start going back and forth with me since he paying me money, on basically smoking or bagging up or whatever. Cause niggas, they think like, oh, what's the big deal or whatever. They don't understand the truth, so but regardless of what, I told him, you gotta keep that shit away from me. And I told him, that this is only temporary, right? This is only temporary, and I don't want you to get comfortable. So that's how I found out that he's supposed to be moving soon. Getting to the point, right? Now, make a long story short, he wound up getting into a situation. And over a $10 sale, right? And so now the people he got into the situation with, and it wasn't nothing crazy, right? The people he got into the situation with, I kind of like had tension and words with. We was at one point in time gonna get into it or whatever, and so we, I dealt with the situation between me and these niggas wisely, which it stemmed from some other family, a dispute with other family members of mine. They getting into it, and it's like, now it's like their family versus my family or whatever. And I just, I believe in Yahweh Shem Shah, right? I'm trying my best to live for Yahweh Shem Shah, and I try to use the wisdom to separate myself from the ways of my family or the things that they get caught up in. Now, it's easier said than done, but the Lord has been showing mercy and guiding me so that I can, giving me the wisdom so that I can do it. So I dealt with the situation between me and them, properly, things, but it's still like, niggas hold on to grudges. I try not to hold on, or it's overall, I gotta understand we got the curses on us, and you gotta constantly remember that and constantly, understand, better, and you gotta carry yourself, make decisions as if you know better, right? So he gets into it, and he calls me or whatever, not necessarily to do nothing, but to let him in the house because he don't have a key, which I wasn't in the area, but he wound up telling me what happened. So now the that old man start coming up, because these niggas that he gets into it with, these niggas know that he's my brother, right? They know he's my brother, and so niggas, jail niggas and shit, these niggas that call themselves being gangsters, they try to play this game where, they act like they don't give a fuck, or they might have a problem with you, right? But they can't get a reaction out of you, that they looking for. And so, you know, they catch somebody that's with you. They do something to them, expecting and hoping that you come to their rescue, or, you know, that they could reignite that old problem, or that tension, you know, that old problem that y'all used to have, or whatever. So, like I said, that old man started to come up, and I immediately started getting furious. I started getting mad, you know, which, and it's all a part of the old man, you know. Like I said, because the old man of myself is like, you know, you're not about to just do nothing to my people, right? And, you know, nothing won't happen. Nothing happens, right? You're gonna have to answer for it. So, anytime it's a situation with my children, any of my family members, and I find out about it, I gotta constantly push that old man aside, you know, because in our reality, it's natural reactions, right? A man is a protector of his family, his immediate family, and, you know, whoever he considers his family and his friends or whatever. So, but in this truth, right? You know, we are not to be carnal. We are to be spiritual, right? We're not to take vengeance into our own hands, right? And we have to follow a protocol and carry ourselves a certain way, you know, as representatives of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, as representatives of the truth, you know, the hopeful elect, right? The men of the Lord. So, but regardless of what, it's a battle, it's a fight. It's easier said than done, and you know, just out of sincerity, right? And Lord willing, this is edifying and helpful to someone out, you know, the elect out there. So, I got mad, right? And now I gotta let my brother in, right? And I gotta possibly drive past these niggas, right? And eventually I'm gonna have to see these niggas, because they be out on the block where I fucking live at, right? And so, even though, you know, things been cool with us or whatever, Hanba type shit or whatever, it's a situation that I gotta deal with. I had to make a decision on how I'm going to deal with this situation. Am I going to act like a nigga, or am I going to use the wisdom that I've been gifted, right, and make the proper decisions? So, getting to the point of this testimony, right? This was a test. I immediately, you know, saw it for what it was, right? We're in the time of the Passover. You know, the sifting, these demons try to sift you out, you know, creating situations to try to take you out the way, trick you out the game, or whatever. So, regardless of what, I'm mad as hell, right? My blood boiling, you know, all these thoughts running through my mind, and I'm visualizing myself, you know, getting carnal, right? But what I did was, immediately I prayed to the Lord, right? And you know, sometimes when you pray, you know, you might see a prayer answered in a week, 2 weeks, a year from now, right? You probably forgot that you prayed about something until you actually think about it, like, oh shit, I remember I prayed for this, right? But you know, and sometimes, right, the Lord come through immediately, instantly, right? And this is one of those situations. So, you know, I prayed to the Lord, you know, to help me deal with this situation or whatever, to make the right decisions, right? And part of my prayer, you know, is like, yeah, I fear you. I know I have to fear you, right? But it's like these bodies is so fucking sinful, and these demons get so strong sometimes. It's like, it's as if we don't fear enough, right? And so I asked him for help, right? And almost immediately before I got to the house to let my brother in, my daughter called me. Right? So now and it's all spiritual because Salakia, right? Because when I was coming from the gym, when I was coming from the gym, I looked at my phone. My phone be on do not disturb, so you got to call my phone number twice in order for the number to come through. So missed calls would show up in on red numbers or red lettering if I got your number stored. So I got a couple missed calls, right? And when I looked at my phone, I'm like, damn, it's because one of them was from my cousin that I live with. One of them was from my brother, right? And one of them was from a number that I didn't have stored that looked familiar or whatever. So I'm like, damn, I'm automatically, my spirit, I felt something, right? Something wrong, right? It felt like something wrong, right? And in that house, you just never know. Police might be fucking kicking the door in. Somebody fuck around got shot, right? Somebody probably got robbed. That's the type of fucking block that I live on, right? And so, Lord willing, I be moving. Lord willing, the Lord show mercy and allow me to be moving really, really, really soon, right? And if so, right, this test, if I would have failed this test, it would have fucked up. It would have fucked up my opportunity for moving, for getting this apartment. I could have got locked up. Anything could have happened, right? So, I felt something wrong. It's like it's like when them demons start fucking with you, when that test come, it's like right? Yes, your spirit, as you grow in this truth, your spiritual senses get exercised to the point where you know what it feel like when demons when a test is coming, when these demons is fucking with you. So before I even knew what was going on, I sensed it, right? And at first my brother just was like, I need to get in the house or whatever, and I kind of hear it in his voice. I'm like, damn, I ain't over there. I'll be over there soon or whatever. I'm like, you good? He like, yeah. He tried to play it off. Then he called me back or whatever, and he basically was on some shit like hurry up or whatever, and he tried to explain the situation to me or whatever, and it was enough for me to start getting pissed off, those demons to jump on me or whatever. And so, like I said, I put the prayer up, the Lord, and the Lord immediately answered my prayer, right? Because my daughter called me, right? And my daughter called me, one of my daughters. And this particular daughter, the Lord killed two birds, 100 birds with one stone, right? This particular daughter, all of my children, they know the truth. They know of the truth, right? But this particular daughter, she's rebellious, right? She has a little bit more freedom than she should have, Salakia. I believe that she believes the truth, but she's not fearful of the Lord, right? I truly believe she believes the truth, but she's not fearful of the Lord, right? And so me and my mom, being believers, right? She go back and forth between, my mom helps me out a lot with her in particular. And so, we often talk to her about the decisions that she makes, about the mentality that she has, how she needs to humble herself. She gets into fights. She likes attention or whatever. she has like she's kind of like popular in school or whatever, and especially because of like these fights or whatever. You know, she got a little social media, a couple followers on social media, so she be feeling herself, what you call smelling yourself, right? And so the Lord had her call me, right? And she called me, she like, Daddy, you okay? As if she knew something was going on. I'm like, what? It was weird. It was weird. But anyways, I said, yeah, I'm good. Why? She said, cuz I just had this bad dream. Or I'm like, what happened? So making a long story short, she said, I don't know what happened, but we both was in the car. You was driving, and I was in the passenger seat, and you crashed. It was a bad accident, and basically I died. And she said she survived or whatever. So she said she woke up, and you know she said her sister, one of my other daughters, she said that yeah, my sister said that, you know, when these type of things happen, you know, it could be a sign that something in real life is happening or whatever. So I called you. So I'm like, damn, instantly, you know, I recognize and realize, right, that this was the Lord answering my prayer. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful because you know, like I said, your prayers could get answered. The Lord don't have to answer your prayers, right? But you know, you might ask for some bullshit or something that you probably feel as though that you want that's good for you, but ain't good for you. The Lord, you know, he won't grant it. Or he'll make you work for it. He'll make you pass some tests before you get it or whatever. Or, you know, so, you know, some prayers might be answered in 2 weeks, a month, whatever, right? This was instant. It was instant, and it was right. It was right on the nose, right on time. And fell right down the lines of what it is that I prayed for, right? And it was an instant boost of fear. Right? And I'm like, damn. So, you know, in the streets or whatever, right? With these young niggas, these YNs, right? They like to use the phrase of crashing out, you know, the phrase of crashing out. When, you know, losing their cool, letting their anger get the best of them, you know, they see a op, which when it come to Jake, you know, not one of the ops on a nigga list is a fucking Edomite or person of any other nation other than our own people, man. All right, and it's a fucking shame, you know, and that's why that's part of the reason why 2/3 of our people is going to be destroyed, man. You know, if they don't repent. So, crashing out, right? So I immediately saw this as you know, like this was a situation where I could have possibly crashed out, right? Let my anger get the best of me, made an unwise decision, right? And they call it crashing out because you know, it's like road rage. Right? If you let road rage get the best of you, right? And in a seriously bad case of road rage, you know, you might hit somebody, you might hit a pedestrian, you know, somebody walking across the street, they walking slow as hell. It's a green light. Right, you honking the horn, like, get the fuck out the way. And they, you know, and this shit really happened, right? And you know, it might be a group of young niggas or whatever, and you know, they probably got a female with them. They trying to show off, right? You honk the horn at them. Now you gotta remember, pedestrians always have the right of way, you know. So when it comes to people walking in the streets, you always, you know, it's the laws of Esau. You always supposed to deal with whatever shit. If it's somebody going slow, you got to deal with it. By no means necessary is it acceptable for you to hit a pedestrian. You gonna have to answer. You gonna always be guilty for that, right? And so it might be a group of young niggas walking by, you honk the horn, now they start walking slower, right? You start getting mad, right? You start popping shit like, get the fuck out the way, right? They flick you off, like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You get mad and you fucking run these motherfuckers over, like fucking like the motherfucking New Orleans or whatever in the beginning of 2025. So, or you might get into a road rage situation where a person is in another car, right? And you say, man, fuck this car. You don't even you forget, you get so mad, you black out, you see red, and you fucking chasing this motherfucker, right? They probably just cut you off, right? Came into your lane without cutting any blinker on, and for whatever reason, right, you wound up crashing your car into theirs, right? Harming yourself, possibly killing yourself, right? It's what you call kamikaze, right? If I'm not mistaken, basically it's like you make a decision, you act out on a decision that is going to lead to suicide, basically, or you harming yourself. So that's why they call it crashing out. And this was a situation where I could have crashed out, right? But the Lord, I dealt with it the right way, right? And Lord willing, right, I passed the test. Funny thing about these tests is that it might drag out. It might drag out. It might be a series of events. You probably think that you passed the test, but you still that's really was just one question on the test, right? But it's a you got fucking 10 more questions or parts of this test that you gotta pass in order to completely actually have passed it. So Lord willing, I passed the test, right? By putting up the prayers to the Lord gave me the answer, gave me blessed me with that dream that he put on my daughter and put the spirit on because my daughter didn't have to call me and tell me about that. She probably could have nixed it off like, oh, it's just a dream, but the Lord had it go exactly how it went. And immediately I gave all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai for it, right? I literally felt my blood pressure come down. I felt myself get calm. And now, right? And now, that's why it pays to not, to get out of your emotions when making decisions, because immediately, right, I became more logical, right? I was able to come up with scenarios in my mind, right, on how to and on how to deal with the situation much more wiser. For example, right, these niggas is Muslims, right? It's Ramadan, right? And though I don't respect that Islam shit, right? All Muslims, all Israelites, Hebrew Israelites that are Muslims, they need to repent, right? Worshiping of other gods is going to get you deleted at the end of the day. So, in the day of the Lord's judgment, if not no other way before that. So, I don't care about it, but I understand enough about it to be able to use it against a nigga that's practicing Islam. So for example, right, that's I'm like, I'm thinking in my mind, right, if the conversation of the situation arises, right, I basically whether they hear or forbid, right, I'm in my mind, I'm like, ain't this Ramadan? Like, why y'all, like, ain't y'all supposed to be in a time of peace? Ain't y'all supposed to be fasting? Like, what the fuck is y'all, like, you need to calm down, chill. Like, you're supposed to be a peaceful person, especially now, right? Basically, or whatever, versus, that old man making decisions to where as though allowing that old man to override, my spirit. So, I'm gonna wrap this up, grab a couple precepts, and tie it into this post that the brother Azan Ha'amath reposted of Yerumyah, servant of Yahushua. All right, with this post, it says Trump says he's ready to enforce death penalty for drug dealers. It's very humane. I think that's supposed to say inhumane. It's very humane. They kill hundreds. All right, so I'm not sure how true this is. You know, I didn't fact check it, but you know, you can't put it past this devil. And you know, even though Esau is the biggest drug dealer on the planet Earth, you know, without him flooding the ghettos with these drugs, we wouldn't have the means to be the drug dealers. You know how our people wouldn't have the means to sell drugs, you know, at the rate that they do. You know, that's full of fentanyl, and you know, that's putting our people, right, and these devils they being put to death too. And that's what a problem. That's when it becomes a problem. That's when they look at it like is it some type of demic or whatever. You know, when Esau, when middle class, when those in the suburbs, you know, start being affected by these drugs that's being sold, in which they are. You know, these devils, they overdosing a lot. And so, but this, you know, the scripture says, suffer not a witch to live, right? Selling drugs is witchcraft, right? And you know, niggas think that because they selling weed, that, you know, they like, oh, this ain't a drug. It is a fucking drug. The smoking of weed is unlawful. It defiles your temple. It's the improper way of using that herb, right? And it's a sin, and it's witchcraft, right? And also, right, niggas who sell weed, they also sell e-pills and, you know, like what they call party drugs. You know, e-pills, Molly, prescription drugs, right? Which a lot of those pills be, you know, they making a lot of counterfeit, fake pills, like the nigga Kodak, right? I knew the perk was fake, but I still ate it because I'm a gremlin, right? So, and he said he regret saying that line or whatever, because he's supposed to be conscious. He knew you're Israelite or whatever. But anyways, this is the Lord. This is the Lord, you know, coming down, right? Getting closer, drawing closer to the day of the Lord's judgment, right? And putting more pressure on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians to repent, all right, before the day of the Lord's judgment. So my brother, right? So my brother, Salaki, I'm out, and after this, I'm gonna grab a couple precepts, I'm gonna close out. So my brother, right, he expecting a reaction out of me or whatever. He mad or whatever, and that was the first part of the test, right? Having to face my brother, knowing he expected me to do something, you know, he probably wasn't expecting me to do anything specific, but to have some type of reaction. So, you know, I told him, right? I told him exactly what happened. I told him that you know, at first I was mad, you know, and I started to take it personal, like niggas was disrespecting me because they know you my brother or whatever. But in our reality, you know, I told him, like, this is what comes with. I told him, like I told you before, this is what comes with this street shit, right? You gotta be ready. You gotta be ready to deal with the shit that come with this street shit at the end of the day. And you know, that's part of the reason why, you know, I'm not in that shit no more. I'm first and foremost is of the Lord, right? But also, you know, I have enough wisdom to know that, you know, when it comes to the street shit, you gotta be willing to go to jail. You gotta be ready. You gotta put up lawyer money, which niggas don't do, right? You gotta put up lawyer money, right? You better get some motherfucking life insurance, because at the end of the day, you know, you gonna wind up hurt, dead, or in jail, right? From hurting somebody else. All right. And so I told him, you know, that I told him before, right? I told him basically, like, look, at the end of the day, I'm not a part of the streets. I'm not with that shit at the end of the day, right? And I can't be involved. You gotta figure out what you gonna do on your own. You're supposed to be leaving soon or whatever. Don't, you know, basically don't lose focus. Cause the faster he leaves, the faster I don't gotta deal with. Or if I get this apartment, you know, I could just wipe my hands with all this shit. You know, put some distance between me and him or whatever, and whatever he got going on, you know, I help him from a distance. But he definitely not moving with me where I move at. Once I'm out of that vicinity of that hood shit, that shit is over with. So I told him, he said, so what you want me to do? I said, and this was a test in itself. This was a challenge in itself. I said, no, reality, I want you to repent. You know, I said, I want you to repent at the end of the day, because, you know, you gonna have to always, it's consequences that come with, you know, selling these drugs or whatever. You might not see it as a drug or whatever, but at the end of the day, you know, you're sinning. Salaki, let me take this. Hello? I'm in front of the gym. Who? Hello? I'm gonna call you back. Just take it easy. Huh? I'm trying to finish this video. Alright, I'm gonna call you back. See what I mean? And it's, you know, it's all part of the testimony, right? That's Eve calling me, right? And it's another situation arising with my daughter who had the dream. Who had the dream, right? And I guess somebody trying to fight her again or whatever. So, you know, not only was that dream for me, but it was for her too, right? Because, you know, I explained to her how that dream was the Lord answering a prayer for me, right? Because I literally was in the middle of a situation where I could have crashed out, and she understood or whatever. And now, you know, Lord willing, it'd be helpful for her, you know, when making decisions of, you know, whether to, you know, to crash out or to remain humble. All right. So that's the beauty of the Lord, right? So right, that's it, man. I told my brother, you know, I got the blood off my hands. I told him he need to repent or whatever, and whether he hear or forbid, right? Lord willing, you know, I passed that test. So let me grab these scriptures now. Because what, right? You know, niggas. You know, this is why niggas go back and forth to jail. This is why the graveyard is filled up, right? With our people, you know, from gang violence, from fucking drug disputes, $10 sales, niggas owing money, right? Overdosing, right? All of these things, right? Because these niggas is not learning. They hard-headed, right? And they keep making the same decisions over and over and over and over again, and keep failing the same test that is being put in front of them, making it impossible for them to grow up. All right. And so back to the title of the lesson, right? If you keep failing the quiz, how will you pass the final exam? Which the final exam is the final test of faith of whether you're going to accept that micro C-hip technology, that micro C-hip implant, right, in your hand or your forehead, right, as means of conforming to the new world order that Esau plans to establish across the four corners of the earth, right? If you receive that micro, which is the fulfillment of the prophecy of the MOTB pursuant to Revelation 13:16, right? That's the last test of faith, right? If you take that micro C-hip, if you allow yourself to be implanted with that, right, then you are willingly bowing down to Esau as your God. All right, you allowing him to have full control, full power over you, and by doing that, you are making yourself an enemy of the Lord, because the number one enemy of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is the nation of the so-called white man, and he has plans to destroy Esau and all that are joint unto him, right? By way of conforming to the image of the beast, and that micro C-hip is what's going to put the seal on a deal on who's with Esau and who's with the Lord ultimately, right? Who's the elect, right? Who's the 1/3, who's the true prophets, the men of the Lord, right? And the women and other men and women and children that believe, right? And so everything that we go through is to prepare us to totally be separate or non-dependent on the ways of this world as means of surviving, and totally dependent on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, all right? The only power that can give us the ability and wisdom to endure the hour of temptation, right? The last test of faith, right? To endure the time of Jacob's trouble. All right. And so you don't want to, it's in your best interest to pass these smaller tests leading up to the ultimate test. All right, which 2/3 of our people are not gonna do. So I'll start here, right? This is Hosea chapter 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of Yahweh. I will also forget thy children. Right? So the knowledge of how to pass the final test, the knowledge of being able to identify what that micro C-hip technology, that micro C-hip implant is pertaining to prophecy, as far as the scriptures is being pushed throughout the four corners of the earth through the prophets, the men of the Lord. All right. But 2/3 of our people, all right, not only won't figure it out on their own when the information is being provided unto them, when the cheat codes is available unto them, they don't want it. They don't want it, all right, because because it requires, the truth requires for you to change. And these people are so comfortable, they love the ways of this world so much that they are going to continue to reject the message of the gospel, all right, and the warnings of the day of the Lord's, the consequences of not preparing yourself for the day of the Lord's judgment. And they will, and for them rejecting and continue to reject the knowledge, the Lord said, I will also reject thee. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 1, verse 5. It says, I'll start with 4. It says, our sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. Right, we are continuing to break the law, statutes, and commandments that got us in this predicament with our enemies ruling over us, and the curses pursuing us into the ends of the earth. Verse 5, it says, why should ye be stricken anymore? Right? We've been getting our ass whooped for thousands of years, man, with these curses being on us. They beat us so bad that we developed the greatest case of amnesia in history. We running around, we don't even know that we are the children of Israel anymore. We don't know that we are the nation above all nations, in which the one true living God has gifted to rule over all other nations. This is the reason why we're strung out on drugs. This is the reason why we in and out of jails. The scriptures, matter of fact, I think I got that pulled up. This is the reason why we in and out of jails, why we overdosing on drugs, why we depressed, why we broke, right? We can't get our shit together. All right. Why should ye be stricken anymore? Regardless of how much we've been suffering, our people, you would think that our people would do right. You would think that when the information is provided, that would be the first thing our people does is repent and be willing to change. But no, our people are stuck in their ways. So the Lord said, look, man, I'm not about to keep going through this shit with you. Why should ye be stricken anymore? Ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. All right. So the Lord is not about to keep going through this process of allowing our enemies allowing us as a nation to repent. All right, to return to worshiping His name. All right, like He did in times of the past. All right. And we go a-whoring after these other nations, these other gods, breaking the law, statutes, and commandments again, and the Lord allow us to go through another punishment, another captivity. The Lord not doing that. This is the last captivity, right? The last final test of faith is coming up, right? And if you don't pass, you're going to be deleted. You're going to be deleted, and you're just going to have to be reborn through the elect. All right? You're going to have to be deleted by way of tormenting fire set on earth by way of the thermonuclear missiles in the peak of World War III. Hold on. This is Isaiah chapter 42 and 22. It says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. Right? So when you think of the word spoiled, right? A spoiled brat, right, is what? Unappreciative. It's unappreciative, all right? And, that's how things become spoiled, right? If you got a gallon of milk in your refrigerator, right, and you don't value food enough to make sure you don't waste it, then you're gonna neglect that gallon of milk, and eventually it's going to expire and it's going to spoil you. All right. And so that's the same thing with this truth. 2/3 of our people are so unappreciative that this truth is there, that eventually the expiration date is going to come up. The last final test of faith is going to come up, and it's not going to be useful to them. You know, this truth is not going to be useful to them, and they're going to fail the test. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. Right? Spoil also going into the spoils of war. You know, being taken advantage of, being able to be conquered, being able to be bullied, being able to be taken advantage of. Right? Which the only reason why that is the case is because we have sinned, and we are continuing to sin against the Heavenly Father, right? Which is the reason why our people, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, primarily fill up these prisons, especially in America. All right. And it's not going to change. And that's why the Lord going to have to destroy our people. 2/3 of our people. Jeremiah chapter 4:22. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children. Right? Meaning stupid. Sottish children. And they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. All right? And so, you know, our people would sell drugs all day. Our people would could tell you how to rob somebody all day, or how to pull off a bank scam. All right, how to steal a car, how to commit adultery, right? How to take a nigga bitch or whatever, right? How to sell your soul to the devil for a rap contract, for a record deal, you know. But when it comes to the ways that are pleasing to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, various and righteous acts, worshiping the one true and living power through His only begotten Son, right? They don't have no knowledge. They can't tell you nothing about it. Only the elect can. All right, and they're gonna die in their foolishness, in their stupidity, in their hard-headedness. This is 2 Kings chapter 17 verse 34. It says, unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not the Lord, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom He named Israel. All right, and so due to our people continuing to do the same things over and over and over and over, making the wrong decisions over and over, failing the tests that are given to them, right? Real quick, right? I knew I was being when the Lord first started dealing with me, you know, Lord, when I'm not being deceived, right, into believing that the Lord is dealing with me, right? The Lord definitely showed me that He's real. And at the beginning of this, right, I was catching charges. I caught a couple charges. It was so-called petty charges, you know. Well, yeah, because, you know, it's not so much. I don't have no felonies on my record. I've been arrested. I never went to prison, right? The longest I ever been in jail was like 2 weeks. All right. County jail or whatever. So that's nothing. But those couple times, that period of time where I was catching those charges, it seemed like it was back to back. And And I felt like something was fucking with me. I didn't know the Lord. I didn't know the Lord's name. I didn't know the truth. I felt like something was fucking with me, and it was tormenting me. It was irritating. It was like, what the fuck, because I'm trying to just be a nigga, a successful nigga in the world. I mean, sell my drugs, right? Take care of myself, take care of my family, or whatever, as much as I possibly can. But I could not do it. I kept getting arrested. I kept losing money. I kept losing drugs, right? I had bad habits, so I was spending more money than I was making, right? The shit just wasn't working, and the couple times that I did go to jail, right? It was like 3 times. Damn near back to back, if I'm not mistaken. Where I was sitting in the cell, and they have a TV. They have a TV showing, right? Showing a movie. And I lie to you not, every time they had the movie that Spike Lee joint, Do the Right Thing, on, and it was the shit was like weird as hell. I'm like, nah, you can't make this shit up. I'm like, no, I know I ain't bugging. And I felt like it was something telling me to do the right thing, and the right thing in my mind was to just stop selling drugs. But I didn't know what the fuck else I was going to do to survive. I only had knowledge to do evil and not good, right? And so I felt the pressure. I'm like, damn, like what the fuck else could I do? But I knew that I possibly needed to leave. I could have possibly tried to go get a job, right? But at the time, right, I dropped out of high school. I didn't understand enough about the world, right? And my confidence level was way down. And I didn't believe in my capabilities, right? I didn't have my license and none of those things. All I knew was the streets. And so, niggas go through that, right? But they never recognize that it's the Lord, or the Lord never revealed himself unto them. And so they keep failing the same test over and over and over and over. And that's hell. That's hell, right? That's insanity. Whenever you making the same decisions, expecting different results, right? You out of your mind. You out of your mind. You're in a pit of hell, all right? Because you ever see those movies where a person relives the same day over and over? I forget. It's one of them where they keep getting killed. And they got to figure out how to not get killed. Until they figure out how to not get killed, they're going to keep getting killed. That's hell. You living every day knowing that you're going to get killed, and that's the mentality. That's the mentality of 2/3 of our people, man. And the sad thing is that they are never going to break out of that. Break out of that from under that. They're never going to get it from under that cloud of the curses until the day of the Lord's judgment, when they're deleted. Hold on. Okay. This is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12. It says, "Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you," right? And so there's no such thing as a coincidence, right? When you see these signs, when you see these same tests keep arising, these same situations, right? It's a sign for you to do better, make a different decision, right? Change your ways, all right, in order to make it to the next, graduate to the next level, the next phase, in order to grow. Sad thing is, 2/3 of our people are never going to do it. So that's that on that. Final precept, and I'm going to close out. This is Revelation 21:7. It says, "He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. All right, so this represents the elect of the nation of Israel, the 1/3, beginning with the 144,000, who will overcome all of the ways of this world, knowing that the fashion of this world faded, passive away. It's all temporary, right? They're going to pass the test, pass the quizzes, enough to be given the gift of passing the final test of faith, all right, and not receive that microchip and be granted salvation for it, all right. This is Revelation 21:8. But the fearful, right, 2/3 of our people, but the fearful, not fearful of the Lord, but fearful of what will happen to them if they don't give in to the ways of this world and sell drugs and take matters into their own hands and ultimately receive that microchip implant. All right. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers, right, and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake, which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. All right, which is going to take place primarily here in America, which is known as Babylon the Great, when the hundreds of millions of nuclear missiles, nuclear warheads will wipe America off of the face of the earth. All right, so Lord willing, that was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Citations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.